Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whenever one may be tuning in. This is Yonks, and we are now, I can't believe it, it's already our seventh work group. And while we're working towards structuring our narrative, Community Energy Innovation Prize, and not only that, the narrative is really coalesced. We're talking about two hashtags: Gigs Go Green with Tri-Co-op STO, and going to be asking the question and answering the question, can two hashtags change the world? So let's hop right in here. This is Notion. Notion is our knowledge-based collaborative tool for doing all the things. And we've got some agenda, and I'm going to scroll right down here. So this is something that we're still talking about. We're still accepting new team. This is one of the things that we're just finishing up the collegiate. There's 3 tracks for the Community Energy Innovation Prize. Not going to go into details on that. But if you are interested here, I do have the opportunity for you to grab a time slot on my calendar so that we can have a conversation. We do believe it can contribute something worthwhile to our team, and we've got so much to do, and the clock is ticking. So one of the things, and we'll circle back on some of these things here, but one of the things that we didn't even put on the agenda that's very, very exciting is that we have gotten approved from Chainraise. We were talking about evaluating here different security token offering platforms, and we did get an approval to go ahead with our Tri-Co-op security token offering things. Time permitting, we'll probably grab a time slot on their calendar to have the next conversation, because that could affect our GTM strategy for Tesla Black DAO. And GTM is our go-to-market strategy. And from my perspective, my personal resources are going to be largely spent around the GTM strategy for Tesla Black DAO. So to rewind here a little bit to this previous bullet point is the various governance frameworks. This is one of the things that is a very foundational aspect of the organizations that we're fostering here. And the main thing is that I really want to keep it simple. The opportunity to overcomplicate things, and like one of the histories that we have here is that the project for HeroX American Made Challenge, the Token Town, the HOA Destroyer, and just thinking of a community and a governance work, that's one that really has an opportunity, and that's one that will likely bring into some of our narratives. But I wanted to pop into here, what is a cooperative? So this is one of the things, the reason that I like this, and this is just straight up copy and paste. I'm going to go ahead and open this for everybody too, from the International Cooperative Alliance. And instead of looking at the Notion agenda here, I just copied and pasted all of this stuff from the International Cooperative Alliance. And I think that these cooperative principles are about, because my thoughts is that I believe that DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, are technology-enabled cooperatives. And the more that we can use existing cooperative principles, and they have an amazing document that I'm going to show you here. Is there anybody else that's on the working group familiar with the 7 cooperative principles? I will take the silence as a no. Or so first of all, voluntary and open membership, democratic member control, member economic participation. This is one of the things that I'm really excited as we talk about tokenomics. I don't think that we're going to talk that much about tokenomics here today, because that's one of the things that I still need to break down our Tesla Black DAO of what that's going to look like. So autonomy and independence, and one of the things that really want to foster here from, and I was talking a little bit about updating our working group, probably update it with, there's an acronym that I really like, FEL, fun, earning, and that's one of the things that I really want to establish from a cultural and ethos standpoint. So, and the autonomy and independence is one of the things too that will be an ongoing work in progress. And was talking a little bit about this before we started our live stream here. Was I really envision as we get some traction here, as we start onboarding new members into the DAO, the opportunity to create working groups and or guilds or pods or whatever we want to call that within our community will absolutely exist, because people naturally gravitate more towards a skills thing, whether that's an existing skill that they have or potentially one that they would like to refine and get better at. So training and information, that's one of the things that I love about our working groups is that pretty immersive, and we do lots of things as far as getting things done within our working group too. Operation among cooperatives, this is an interesting idea that I think that there's strong efforts from what I've seen about that, and then concern for community. So this is one of the things that I think that we should utilize from a foundational aspect as far as creating the governance within our decentralized autonomous organization. Does anybody want to chime in some thoughts on these cooperative principles?
I think we need to make sure that we link that in our website when we get it built, because I don't think a lot of people are very familiar with co-ops at all, or if they might be, they're thinking like big rural electric co-ops or something like that, not like this.
Absolutely. And here's one of the things, Tyler. We've actually got this page in our Notion right now, and this is actually in our FAQs database. So, and here's what it looks like just from a website. So this is one of the things that we have a lot of capability to just look at or implement, because one of the things with that I'm still trying to package in, we're talking about bringing 3 cooperatives, basically creating 3 publicly traded cooperatives via this security token offering that we're doing. So this is actually what this looks like. I'm in Brave on a browser. So this is one of the things. I don't know if there's the opportunity to change this to a more branded site. I don't know if it really makes sense, because Triple Win Foundation, 3Win DAO is our nonprofit umbrella for this DAO ecosystem that we're building. But I mean, looking at this on a website, it actually looks, this Notion page looks really clean. And this is one of the things, like right now we're using Solar EV is probably out of the 3 cooperatives, the one that has refined narrative. So like the opportunity to continue to use now with Tesla Black, where we're actually to create an e-commerce and have a minimum viable product, to be a different web presence that we're looking at creating. And we do have a lot of digital assets that we've been acquiring. One of the things that will probably continue to break down, like right now, we did get Tesla.black. I didn't even know .black was a top level domain until looking at Porkbun the other day. Right now, this is a very out of the box WordPress installation. There's about, I think the only thing that I changed was the title, and then I also gave it the tagline, the most profitable community for gig workers. So this is built with WordPress, and we're going to be using WooCommerce for our chart, and that's one of the ways that we're going to be onboarding people into the DAO. And we really expect that people are going to large on board through either a hybrid event or a webinar. That's one of the things talking about here. So let me go back to our agenda real quick. So I think that it would be solid, just Tyler, to put like a page here, like cooperative principles here right on the website, and just make that, and that's one of the things I'm open for ideas as far as what we're really wanting to communicate. And this is one of the things that's going to be, again, very open and iterative process. And the more that people that have subject expertise on these various topics that love creating content. And anyway, I could, I'm starting to ramble, so I'm going to get Jind over here. All right. So
one question though.
Go ahead, Sean. Absolutely.
So one of the things is the commitment to community, and cooperatives are all about community. But I think one of the tricky things here is defining what our community is, right? Because
yeah, it's a great point, Sean. I think one of the things that we're trying to make a point of is the car sharing people will be mostly in a community with each other. The house sharing people will mostly be in a community with each other, but kind of a general larger ecosystem. I think it's what we're trying to differentiate is very different from landlord tenant or owner renter, like most of these situations are, where there's no collaboration or there's no building together. That's what we're trying to create.
and like each one of these communities where you get all the Tesla workers serving a region and they're using a set of solar chargers in the same region, I understand that that would be very much a community. But then if you have like a larger group of people dedicated to making this DAO and technology and so forth work, it becomes a much different type of community, right?
Yeah, so just to kind of put some thoughts behind this is you're absolutely right, because like yourself, Sean, you might not identify as a gig worker, but you love what we're building here and love to contribute to the DAO. So I think that absolutely having, and this is one of the things as we continue to have more conversations, like defining some roles and responsibilities, because another one are solarpreneurs. There's actually a solar podcast, and thinking about like this solar EV, this community solar model. There's absolutely economic incentives, and from what I understand, within the solar, they're normally around 3% of the deal. I don't know, and I think that that's more geared for rooftop solar. 3% on 50 to 150 grand is very different than 3% on a $15 million project. So having defining what community is through roles and responsibilities. And I think that this kind of plays into what was talking about a little bit with the guilds and stuff like that. And I'm going to go ahead and open up because I didn't allocate any time here to talk on D-Work, but I did actually clean up quite a bit since the last time that we talked about it. And here is the link for our D-Work. Let me throw this in the Zoom chat here for everybody. And let me make this bigger for everybody on the other end. So I cleaned it up here. Like, this is Win Foundation again. That's the nonprofit where we roll up. And right building all of the projects under Web3 Freedom Club. This is a legacy board that we had for Retoken the Real Estate DAO. So one of the things, and this is the opportunity that we have doing some autonomy, like there's a lot of different things that can be done. And one of the ways that we can track and create some economic incentives, like that's one of the things that we have token to represent each of these projects. And not going to unpack all of that right now, but this is just something like right now under Tri-Co-op STO. I've got two different books for this. This is our Community Energy Innovation Prize. So like there's going to be tasks that are unique, and this is a brand new board. Like we've got another board that we were using solar EV. There's a little bit of cleanup to transition from solar EV into the go green with Tri-Co-op STO, and that's one of the things that I'm going to do offline. Let me see on this other board here. So like this is one that Tyler had on the board on our agenda. And this, so my thoughts right now is, instead of thinking about creating a co-op, because like one of the main things that I believe that we need to do is demonstrate traction and onboard members into Tesla Black DAO, which we're going to be creating the minimum viable product elect. And let me actually go over to that real quick. Let me throw that link for everybody. And just a subtle thing here that you can see, put Colorado here, just echo the opportunity that exists, is that we're working on building a model through co-op security token offering that can be replicated on a state-by-state basis. So close Windows. So I like, and I'm gonna put this as a next action, is create a cooperative principles page on Tesla.Black website. I'm going to move this. I'm going to move this to carry over here. This because this is something that we'll have more conversation about too. Oh, didn't get all bullets. It's that later. Okay. So right now we're discussing the GTM strategy for Tesla Black DAO, and this is one of the things that we talked a little bit about here. So my thoughts on this is, instead of thinking about how create a co-op STO pitch deck, because when you think about like from a mental timeline standpoint right now, and let me put these dates because this is something else. Like, so I don't know if this is realistic. 11/22, and we're looking at doula. Let me see if I've got that right. Let me do a search. I think I've got that as doula. Doula is a business service type of a platform. Start up your dream business. So we've gone through the process of doing a business ourselves. There's a couple reasons that wanting to look at doula for. First of all, I want to see what the experience looks like. There's another aspect that's been problematic, is a bank account. We have a solution for several DAOs that we've used, but start your business. So they're actually, doula is set up to do a DAO LLC. One of the things that thinking about as far as doula is that we're talking about having this network through Tesla Black, our DAO members, where my belief is that most people that are independent contractors with Uber and Lyft, they do that as a natural person and as a legal business entity. And this is one of the things I've personally, as a Uber and Lyft driver, I've had an LLC that I've opted with basically since I started driving, and not going to unpack all the reasons why, but doula is also a potential business as a service. That's one of the things that we put as a potential benefit as far as like creating a value ladder within Tesla for our DAO members, these gig workers that we're going to be creating this circular business for. So does anybody have, I don't know if we really talked that much about doula. I'm actually going to go through because I did see that they were here in our Notion. So this is one of the things that I'm doing on Notion, is actually just doing some stuff. So we've got a DAO solutions database here in Notion, because and there's a lot of different tools. And the things that I love about blockchain is the opportunity for us to use other solutions within the ecosystem where we don't have to reinvent the wheel and create that from in-house standpoint. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a new tool here for doula, and we're going to call this a purpose is business as a service, and we put in a banking business here too. So status is that we're considering. I'm going to put a priority of 1 because the reason that this is something that we need to get knocked out is that we want to set up an e-commerce where we're starting to receive payments for people to onboard into our DAO and having a bank account. Like, I'm pretty sure that we can set up a Stripe account without having to have an account, because Stripe would love to hold our money for us. For those that aren't familiar, Stripe is a back-end processing service that a lot of online merchants use. So we'll put this as a project for Tesla Black, right here. And I probably should break this out because things too. And I've had a long and I'm going to apologize to both Amy and Tyler. This is something that I've been procrastinating on for a while, is to create a visual org chart. And what I'm talking about here, like this is the lab that I did, and when you go to 3win.foundation, it redirects project page here. So like let me just show you in this tab, 3win.foundation, and then we go and it comes over here to our Notion site. So so what I was talking about here is creating a DAO page, because this is for Colorado. The DAO is going to be like the DAO that we're talking about launching via Doula is a different entity than what we're going to be bringing public via Tri-Co-op security token offering. Because again, we're looking to create a model that's created on a state-by-state basis. So think of Tesla Black DAO as the mothership. And that's one of the things that will be really exciting to build in there. But anyway, I'm going to finish up. I'm going to put this URL in here, and this is something that we'll take that offline and have a conversation to see what that process looks like. But before, does anybody have any thoughts on Doula before we move on to the next thing? Cool. All right, so I'm going to put this as a next action. Onboard Tesla Black DAO Doula. So, and this is where we were talking about creating legal entity for Tesla Black DAO. And that will be a Wyoming LLC. And the thoughts is that, and whether we need to register that's one of the conversations that we can put forward. We're building to, and I'm not going to that up right now, the board of stewards. That's something that I'm wanting to create some more collateral offline to package up a little bit better. So 22, one of the things, and I don't know if it will line up, but we were talking about having a block party here, block party at Tesla House Co-op in North Glen. So one of the things, Tesla House Co-op, we haven't had a lot of conversations. We're not going to have much conversations about it today. Tesla House Co-op is one of the house hacks that Tyler and I are living in, that we're really looking, and we're actually planning to be our proof of concept for, we'll call this the single family house proof of concept for EV. So this is one of the things, call it a brand. So brand / single family house proof of concept. So just to provide some more story, like we're actually looking to put another Tesla House Co-op online in one of our pilot communities. But getting back to the block party, We've hosted a block party here already once, and this is something that we really want to get great at. This goes back to creating a fun, earning, and learning culture. We want to get great at having local community and fostering local community. One of the reasons that we love the block party idea, North Glen has this literally block party in a trailer that doesn't cost. You just need to get your neighbor's approval. And we've already went through that process once before. It was a fabulous experience, and looking to amplify that more in 2024 and beyond. So the reason for the 22s here, let's just fast forward this a little bit. 122, 2024, Tesla. This is the Kickstarter campaign launches, and we're gonna. I don't know if I'm really liking the leaning into gigs go green, and I don't know how long. This is one of the things that we will look into as far as some best practices with Tri-Co-op STO launching Tesla Black DAO and phase one here. Do you like phase one or stage one better? I don't know if it really matters. It's about the same. And the thought on the phase one, just to provide a little idea here, is that, and I don't know if I put the house hacking DAO, but like Tyler and I have been house hacking for a while. And for those that aren't familiar, there's actually a book on Amazon called House Hacking. And I wasn't aware that it had as much as it did until I went to a meetup that has over 1,600 people in it. And there was probably 40 to people at the meetup. And you were with me at that meetup, weren't you, Tyler?
Yeah, what I thought was really interesting was how open that. So there was a presenter there who was talking about his greatest hits and some pretty big messes, which I thought was really interesting. It wasn't just it's all cookies and roses and every single house hack always works and it's always a home run. So I love that perspective of saying we've had some house hacks that were better than others, and we've had a couple that were busts, and just being able to have that real perspective, I think would be pretty valuable in this project.
So absolutely, and the thoughts to bring that back a little bit is we get this model dialed in for Tesla Black, where we're creating this gig workers that's primarily through the lens of Uber and Lyft drivers. The thoughts is there'll probably be a different audience for people that are interested in house hacking, and the app just basically change maybe the benefits or use some of the same benefits and launch a house hacking DAO that could be the engine. Because like one of the things that Amy had a great when we were having these conversations is who is going to vet the drivers? Well, we're creating this DAO, and that's going to be one of the core things that we create within this ecosystem, because we're building this co-op model where the main premise is that one driver, one car is very, very inefficient. And we're going to be, our model is going to be largely based around a driver A, driver B. Driver A would have the car be a weekday warrior Monday to Thursday, driver B Friday, Saturday. But we still want to have a method and process of vetting the drivers, take into consideration geographic area. And a lot of that will come even more full circle when we're really building out this economy. But getting back to the timeline here, 2/22/22, this is when Tri-Co-op STO for Colorado is available to invest. This is also launching on DAO Day 2024, which we've already got February 22nd there. So we years ago proclaimed International DAO Day on 2/22, and the thing that's really exciting is that Tyler helped to arrange Chainraise, who we're going to be moving forward with launching our security token offering. So this is really coming full circle to from when we proclaimed International DAO Day in 2022. We're going to be bringing forward our own circular economy model to market via tri-co-op security token offering for Colorado. And the thing that's exciting about this, on 2/23, Denver 2024 launches. And this is something, if anybody's interested, we've started reaching out to see if it makes sense. I'm going to put on here sponsorship booth equals 30K. So our thoughts is instead of getting a booth, because this is something that Nick brought forward, I don't think that he was aware that this was, and just to put a numbers behind, ETH Denver is expecting, I think, anywhere from 25 to 40,000 people here in Denver. So one of our thoughts is for this event, and this is one of the that I would love to do a hybrid event and or a ticket event. And one of the things that I would like to have some thoughts surrounding is using our social token. And this, we haven't even minted this social token yet. This is something that we might do today. I'm not sure if we will or not. We'll see if we have some time. I was kind of wanting to come up with a unique number for fun as far as from a quantity standpoint, using our social token to register for the event. And think like $20 to $50 ticketed cost retail, and these are the kind of benefit for DAO members. Because one of the thoughts too is that we're talking about having Tesla Black DAO be during $69 a year. So the thoughts is that as a reward for onboarding, we can give people 69 social tokens or whenever that goes up. So this is also like just thinking through stuff that we would like to see happen behind the scenes. This is the kind of thing behind the scenes that we would like to see some automated framework, and that's something that we'll continue to talk more about. So here we've got ETH Denver, and then we were talking about either 3/22, 4/22 Kickstarter campaign launches, and I'm going to just copy this row here. This is Gigs Go Green with Fayu launching House Hacking DAO. And this is, of course, very, very formational, or just thinking out loud. And a lot of this will just depend on, you know, the success that we have here in creating a narrative. And one of the thoughts is that, again, the funnel could bring people into this, because one of the things that we're really wanting to do with Kickstarter is hopefully convert people. And from what I understand, Kickstarter has about a 20 million user base, and if you tap into the Kickstarter algorithm, then that's something amplified through that ecosystem. We still are fully expecting to bring most of the marketing activities, and this is why that we're talking about a go-to-market strategy for Tesla Black. But this is kind of just some thoughts that we've got, and this is one of the things we've got an existing roadmap, and this is where we're really wanting to incorporate the current direction with because the roadmap that we're operating was a roadmap that we created through a solar EV narrative lens. We really like the bringing forward the gig workers through Tesla Black, because that's one of the reasons that we longer story, not going to go into details. So does anybody have any more thoughts or ideas on the timeline? This will basically be through the first half of 2024 from a time perspective.
Just one quick thing about ETH Denver. The booth being 30,000 plus, I think it doesn't make sense for us to do a booth, but we were talking about doing a side event or party or a happy hour or whatever. And we can talk about that later, but we are, especially if any guys are planning on attending ETH Denver, it would be great to just really kind of throw a flag out and attract the people that we want to come see us, instead of just kind of a random hodgepodge of whoever stops for our booth.
Yeah, absolutely. And we thought that we could get more value and create more value for our community by, instead of spending $30 or 30 grand for random people, to have a fun event that we could really drive into the circular narrative to create value for our DAO members, where they could trade their social tokens for a ticketed event. So that's something that we'll have some more conversations. Was really thinking about having this event for DAO Day be up here in right now. We're regularly, Nick, myself, and Tyler, when we get somebody to watch Brooke, are regularly hosting a crypto rado for North Denver here at Satire Brewing. With the ETH Denver event being right before this, I think it would probably make more sense to find a venue there in Rhino, where the ETH Denver event is kicking off. So we'll have more conversations, and like that's a good segue into what is squarely on my plate as far as to really drive some value. One of the things that I'm really envisioning Gigs Go Green is to create a narrative where as a passenger that's driving passengers around Uber and Lyft, is to create the narrative, hey, instead of a tip, go so that I can go green. And like, even though that I have a Tesla right now, not green with my Tesla, because we're still pulling energy from the public utility, which is Xcel Energy here in Colorado. And this is one of the upgrades that we're wanting to make here at Tesla House Co-op in North Glen. And we'll be talking more about that. And some of the thoughts, besides just having like, so there's two thoughts to really make this more copy and paste, because that's one of the things that I'm thinking through, is that we're wanting the whole to summarize what we're wanting to do here with Gigs Go Green. And I'm actually gonna this is a good opportunity to go back to this news articles and resource. So how to build a successful movement in 4 steps. And I'm gonna, and this is the page that I created in Notion. And one of the reasons that I created this is it makes it easier for me to organize important elements. So like the article had a couple authors. It was published on ideas.ted.com, and it's related to these things. And we're actually talking about it specifically during this working group. So these were the steps that I found from this article. I'm actually just going to go ahead and open up this article, because to me, we're building a movement here with this hashtag Gigs Go Green. And if I wanted to summarize Gigs Green, is it's a movement for gig workers to take action and go green. I think that this is a really compelling narrative for so many different reasons. And the reason that it's most compelling from my perspective, speaking as a gig worker, is because for a gig worker, going is the most profitable way to do Uber and Lyft. And I strongly hold the belief that if anybody's doing Uber and they're not doing it in a 7-passenger Tesla Model Y that's black on black, they're doing wrong. And that's some content that I'm going to create. But anyway, this is an article that I came across that I felt was really compelling enough that I went through some extra time and created that as an article and resource, and working about it again here. So, and let me link this up for everybody on Zoom so that they've got it. And I don't know, Tyler, this is something that I need to get a little bit better at. I didn't want to open up another browser window, but just going to put this out there to the universe. If somebody likes the idea of a live stream or video producer, this is an opportunity. We're wanting to use a studio to really elevate the production quality of our live stream. So if you want to get into that, let me know. Send me a DM. DMs are open on all the social at Yonks. So, and this article too is also of a self-promotion for a book that Jeremy and the co-author wrote, Henry Timms, called New Power. So find your connected connectors, build a new power brand. So the new power brand that we're building is Gigs Go Green. And let me go back to Notion here real quick. So just go to the homepage here for Triple Win Foundation. This is our project page. So gigs go green. This is super fresh. Literally just made this the other day. But one of the I was wanting to show here is that we did acquire a couple web assets. We've got gigs go green.com and gigsgogreen.org. And with this being more of a we're probably going to redirect the .com and just focus around using the .org because it seems to be more of a .org alignment from how .orgs and .coms are normally used. So this is something that is exciting. One of the things too, the thoughts are, and Amy and I have had some conversations just as far as like thinking through the green lens, and like right now. There's a lot of green aspects, like a wiki. The co-founder of Gitcoin has written a book talking about the green belt, and this is one of the things that there's all these the 17 SDGs that the United Nations put forward and the 2030 agenda. So it will be fun and exciting to see what kind of traction that we can create through this Gigs Go Green. So right now, the thought is to really position Gigs Go Green as a brand that would be owned by Triple Win Foundation. So, and this is one of the things that I don't know what it's going to look like as far as really bridging nonprofit, for-profit, government, capitalism, but that's really the goal of what we're building with this circular economy, is to be a community catalyst to really create distributed energy resources and circular economy. There's a narrative in these local communities that we get movement in. So and getting back to the agenda here, let me pop back over there. So this is our main agenda and meetings database. So here's the working group that we're on right now. So that was a little bit, and this is again a resource. One of the other thoughts too, and I don't know if I added this as an opportunity. I'm going to bring that open into a window real quick. So Jeremy, I think it's a little early with where right now, but at purpose.com, Jeremy, co-author of New Power, and that's definitely a book that I'm going to get on audiobook. Purpose.com, and it looks like there's an opportunity for, and like I said, I think that we're still a little bit early, but there is an opportunity. I can't remember if it's here. Contact. Do you have a project you'd like to collaborate on? I think that this would be a good opportunity because I do think that this is a very compelling narrative. And because the other thing too that's important to consider is part of the reason that makes this all possible is the Inflation Reduction Act that was signed into law in 2022, reset the clock for many green energy incentives. And we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars, lower 370, 380 billion, and it could be over 500 billion. And the clock is ticking on that. What do I mean by that? 2020 or 2022, it's 10 years. So the clock from now until 2032, because in 2032, these incentives decreasing. So it's the thing that's exciting too is the transferability, and that's another strong use case for blockchain. I can talk about that stuff all day long. So back here, the GoFundMe is again to create the narrative for gig workers, because we're positioning Tesla Black as the most profitable community for gig workers. So we're really the gig workers. Join this Gigs Go Green movement and really their passengers to create a compelling narrative, because I think only through the power of community, whether it's people investing in our prod, people GoFunding, a driver that is basically an ambassador Gigs Go Green movement. So the thought is to have a QR code that we can have in the car where basically a little says, instead of tipping me, GoFundMe, here's a QR code. And one of the other things too, that's related on this unlock protocol, and I'll come back to that there. So that's just a thought I forget for somebody to help me remember. But the other thing too is the opportunity to create like a few business card. That's one of the things that I love, operating from an attitude of gratitude, because at the end of the day, doing gig work is permissionless work. I would rather in 2023 go out and drive Uber than make six figures as an IT professional. And I made six figures for decades, made over $1 million doing IT. And here's me very publicly that I would rather do permissionless gig work in a get paid to do that. And honestly, probably not even have to be a Tesla. But anyway, the thoughts are is to create a thank you business card and have like the opportunity to, again, take home that message, bit of a tip, please go fund me. And then the other thing too, with how that we're going to be structuring Tesla Black DAO, people will have the opportunity to become content entrepreneurs with Tesla Black DAO. And that's one of the other stories that we're going to be creating. Does it any other ideas with this? I think it'll be more of the rubber meets the road. And from a timing perspective, this is going to occupy probably 40 to 80 hours of my own time in December to actually go out and drive and test out in real life these scenarios that we're talking about here.
Can you go into a little more detail about how those cards would work?
So imagine like the thank you business card, Sean.
Yep.
So it's basically like a foldable business card, and instead of like somebody having their like, hey, I'm a real estate agent, here's my information on how that you can contact me. It's more of a gratitude card, and then also a narrative. And the big thing is that it's a package business card format. You get the printing cost dynamics that you would normally get. So this would probably be like, a $30 to $50 expense that we could create this template for our members to use so that they could get those printed at their local business card station store, to give them a tool they could use to drive their passengers to GoFundMe. Because are here is that with a compelling narrative, like let's say somebody was going to tip $5, with a compelling narrative, the opportunity to potentially increase that to $20 or more, I think is the opportunity. Again, this is the goal here with Tesla Black DAO, is to create the most community for gig workers. So this is a tool to help gig workers earn more money. And the goal, the thing about a GoFundMe is I'm wanting to create a narrative so that I can invest in own solar EV infrastructure. We're planning on most of the assets, or all of these assets within this ecosystem, to be tokenized. So my thoughts is that I'm actually wanting, with any funds that I get through my own GoFundMe, is to invest in the tokenized offering, however that we look at that to market when the solar opportunity, so that would allow me to be my own owner in the circular economy that we're building out here.
Okay. I mean, I've used Ubers and such in the past, and I understand that, typically passengers will tip the driver. It's built into the Uber app. They click a button and there it is. So you're hoping that by passing a card, people will go to a separate link and contribute to a GoFundMe. I mean, it doesn't seem overly likely that people would want to do those extra steps and then pay extra, unless there was a really compelling story behind it.
The really compelling story is combating climate change here, and most people don't have a tool for doing that, and we're giving them a tool that is a very real opportunity. And when you think about this, is going to be purely a numbers game. most drivers are really doing 100+ rides a week as a full-time driver. So whether it's 5% or, and when you think about 5%, that's only 5 passengers a week, but it's a very public narrative. And this is one of the things that and things that's also exciting is the GoFundMe is just one aspect. There's actually a crypto, and there's a couple different blockchain Web3 centric. One is Give ETH, and so it's doing the GoFundMe, and I'm going to put right here, start a GoFundMe plus Give ETH, and let me just open up GiveETH.io here real quick. We're all familiar with GoFundMe, and that's one of the reasons that looking at doing GoFundMe. But there's actually some amplification that occurs within Give ETH. And let me link this up for everybody here in the chat. So I went through the process a little bit of creating a project on, or at least created a profile. So this is one of the things that I'm going to take offline and actually create some content as far as creating. But yeah, my expectation is through a numbers game, and that's one of the reasons that like using a more reputable platform like GoFundMe, we're very familiar with GoFundMe. So and this will of course be one of the reasons that I'm gonna be doing this myself, because this is an idea that I've had. I really do believe that human spirit will open up, especially if you give them a vehicle, and that's just based upon my experience through the 12,000 trips that I've done over the last 6 or 7 years. Now, I haven't been advocating to my passengers about doing a GoFundMe, and this is one of the things that I will very publicly here through this format share with everybody, and that's too through our like a mass group is one of the ideas, or a similar type of format as this, to really work with other gig workers, get this narrative refined as far as what we're communicating and or conveying via those tools. So like the other thing too, to kind of add a little bit of extra value conversation, is that we're wanting to create a workflow using Unlock Protocol where people could get a free NFT. Because like one of the other things that we're wanting to do and planning on doing is turning the houses and the cars, like talking here about giving rides. Like we've got a vanity license plate, and I think that I mentioned it somewhere on this page. Let me find it. We own 4. Yeah, right here. So creating a Instagram account for We Own 4, vanity plate on the car, to kind of engage there and to tell a story. And that's one of the things that we will likely ramp out into our strategy as we scale up. And here is that instead of like having a personal Instagram account, have a Instagram for the cars in this Tesla Black cooperative, where and again use social media and create more of a Tesla Black experience that can be more of a formulaic thought process and coaching opportunity for the drivers to create more Tesla Black experience. Because as we know, in first century, people pay for a premium to have a unique experience, and the belief is that people will also reward drivers through a GoFundMe for a unique experience as well. So that's my belief, and that's something that I'm committed to getting out on the road here these early weeks of December, and prove that out. So I pulled those items down to the next actions, because that's next actions for me, get that a little bit of framework set up, and talked a little bit about Unlock Protocol. We'll talk more about that here coming up. So one of the other things that we need to do is to get the agreement. We're talking about getting a minimum viable product online, and to be quite honest, I would really like to see the minimum viable product online here like December. I don't know if it will be realistic. Tyler and I are going to be traveling next week to Missouri and Ohio as a family. It's going to be a short trip considering that we're driving all the way to Ohio, but we've got a lot of work to do to move this forward. Just to be clear, we've used agreements for renting out. This has been an area of experience. Like, true story, Tyler and I spent 10 grand on attorneys to do a regulation crowdfunding offering for a mobility play back in 2018 to 2020, where we brought a regulation crowdfunding offering right when the pandemic unfolded. So mash up what we've got from all of those, and the goal is to create and that protects the players that are involved. And the thing that will be different about these is that these vehicles that we're looking to acquire through Tesla Black, the public benefit corporation of Colorado, will be owned by the cooperative. And that's one of the things that we're excited to create tokenomics surrounding the vehicles and the cooperative situation. So that's something we got, and I'm going to bring that down. But as far as the other main agreements, so there's the I'm going to put down here DAO member agreement. And when you say both need to be, is that what you were thinking on that, Tyler?
I didn't hear you.
You said you had this in parentheses, both need to be drafted.
That was referencing something else. I don't know if you moved it and you disconnected that.
Yeah, it was up here to the in parentheses under the, because I was adding Tesla Black. This is the owner, operator, driver.
Oh yeah, the operating agreement and the member agreement both need to be drafted.
Yeah, so this is the $200 a week. This is one of the things, and I'm gonna actually, we had on here right now. I'm gonna bounce on here to the centrifuge. So centrifuge, to have a better understanding what is centrifuge, is there, and let me actually do a search for private credit. So what is private credit? So here's a page that I came across, because this is one of the thoughts are with what we're doing with acquiring Teslas. Like, we're talking about raising a bucket of money of up to $5 million for Tesla Black of Colorado. We want that to be for two things. We want to acquire at least vehicles, and we also want to become the insurance company for those vehicles here in Colorado. So the opportunity is, instead of us using like $3.5 million of that $5 million to acquire 50 Teslas, to utilize private credit to be some of those stacks, instead of just bringing all of the equity that we raise for that. So this is a really great page that the Alternative Credit Council put forward as far as what is private credit. And to put this into some blockchain or Web3 conversation, because we're really wanting to build this on using Web3 technology as much as possible, that's where centrifuge come to the conversation. And there is a great webinar. I haven't listened to this, but it just dropped literally the other day, the 17th, so a couple days ago. And it was facilitated by AMA.org, which was the parent company of this organization here that had the Alternative Credit Council on. So this is more of a trade association for the private credit, and they also have a really great thing that they're doing surrounding digital assets. So this is an organization that would probably make more sense for us to learn about. One of the ways that we can learn about this, like a webinar, like what I just talked about. So this is something that I'm going to watch, and I didn't have time to watch it between now and when, because it was just yesterday that I created while referencing this. So here's some people that were on here. Centrifuge is somebody that we're looking at potentially being a partner. So the coming back to what the question is, I don't think that it makes sense right now, but that's one of the we might have a compelling enough narrative that we could potentially have the conversation later. But I think that we should at least kick this can down the road until our next working group. But that's what we're discussing right now. So my thoughts are to kick this can down the road. I'm going to watch the webinar, but does anybody else have some thoughts on that? So yeah, I did create in there, but I didn't create as a tool. So I'm going to put real quick in our DAO solutions a page for Centrifuge. And this is one of the databases that we kind of bring together things. So this is a centrifuge.io private credit. See if there's also, I'll just put private credit for now, and we'll put considering, and I'll put this as a priority of 3. And we did a conversation with somebody that's an ambassador with Centrifuge on a that's one of our LinkedIn connections in the ecosystem. So that was part of the underlying conversation on the Centrifuge as well. So I'm going to bring this down to the carryover, and I'm going to carry that over, carrying over to next working group. All right. So we talked about the agreements. This is something else that I think Tyler started working on these a little bit, but I'm going to carry this down to the next time here. So the Kickstarter. So this is one of the things that is a great opportunity. I don't know how many people are familiar with Kickstarter, but Kickstarter is a rewards campaign. So like one of the rewards that we're gonna create are DAO membership. We're positioning this as launching Tesla Black DAO. So this is one of the things that we can have as a reward, and this will signal going from pre-launch right now and until January 22nd of 2024. We're in pre-launch pretty much for everything that we're doing, and this will basically be the launch for Tesla Black DAO. And one of the benefits that we're creating of coming in early is a lower price point that people will be grandfathered in for life at $69 a year instead of $97 a year for being a DAO member. So one of the things that also wanted to do was creating a book. And this is something that I think that, because the great thing about Kickstarter is that you don't have to have a product. It's basically a mechanism for bringing a product to markets. Let's benefits that we want to offer. This is where we're at right now. So I'm going to change this into bullet points, book, and I'm going to put maybe a $20 price point. I don't for a question, and then Geeks Go Green with try co-op, crowd-sourced book. And this is one of the things that could be pretty exciting. Like we were having a conversation on Clubhouse, the opportunity of having this book be like another 1-year subscription, that where we could have this be a fun vehicle for telling different stories or being a playbook. However, that's something that we don't have to even finalize these conversations, and we can really see what the market interest is through Kickstarter. And this is one of the things that we can have. I think that we need a really low NFT, like $1 or $5. And this is I back to be Gigs Go Green Tesla Black Kickstarter. And this is where we can just get creative with some different types of rewards. And the thought of having a very low price point here is from what I understand, is that the more people that you get backing it, and I don't know what the magic number is, if it's 100 or 500, but then you start tapping into the larger pool of community that you get through Starter. And this is one of the things I went through a different campaign. I don't have the link in front of me right now, all the way back in 2016. I'm sure that the best practices for creating a successful Kickstarter campaign have changed substantially. And that's one of the things that gonna really, like, when you think about from a timeline standpoint, we still have 2 months about to our Kickstarter date. And this is one of the things right now, my main efforts are getting the minimum viable product, our DAO member online, and the WordPress and WooCommerce, where we can actually run people through a checking out there with some initial stuff on the website. And then, of course, our DAO member, and this is a $97 a year. And one of the things too that can be fun is to create some higher value, like some pretty audacious types of things. And I don't know what that would look like. I'm open for some ideas. If somebody else wants some potential rewards that we could Kickstarter benefits, Kickstarter rewards. Has anybody ever backed a Kickstarter project?
Yeah, I've backed a Kickstarter project.
So what was the types of rewards there that you remember from that project, Sean?
So in this project, it was more of a game setting that they were building. And, for the low level rewards, you could get like a PDF copy of the game. For the higher level rewards, they would give you a printed version, or maybe a signed printed version, or a version with additional features. And that was the idea of like getting people to sign in at higher levels. And so, like, the basic version was just like, yes, I'm barely participating, so I'm going to get a copy of it. But at higher levels, people are going to get like a more tactical experience that they could actually hold and touch.
Gotcha. And that's one of the things too that we could maybe do is like with this book, maybe have like it be a digital NFT, and then maybe like a printed book be like more expensive, because printing books is expensive these days.
Yeah, but you factor that into the contribution, right? So if it costs $20 to print the book, then you may get like $50 level on Kickstarter or something like that.
For sure. So the main thing that we're looking to do is just to have a vehicle for capturing more DAO members, but then also the goal is to talk about, of course, tri-co-op security token offering, which is not something that we can deliver via Kickstarter, because Kickstarter is a rewards platform where no equity can be provided. Tri-co-op security token offering is the platform where people will actually invent these 3 cooperatives. So, and as far as the paid ad campaign, this is something that Tyler here. One of the things I'm going to actually add another bullet point is can we do our affiliate program as an OA? So what do I mean by this? So like, this is one of the things that we're creating an affiliate campaign, and I don't know if there's some tracking methodology that can track that, but that's one of the and this is a research if solutions exist. And I'm going to put here Kickstarter campaign. So we haven't talked that much about our affiliate program. That's something that I'll be sure that we have details bundled in for conversation, because we should be pretty close to launching our minimum viable product around when our next working group is. But we'll have more questions. The Kickstarter is going to be a main focus after we get our viable product for the DAO member Tesla online. So then I broke out this here. So unlock protocol grants. So I was going to put a screenshot here, but I didn't get time to do that. But I did bring forward unlock protocol is what we're going to be using to fulfill the DAO membership on a technical basis. And it's basically a composable protocol, upgradable smart contract for NFT memberships and or ticketed events is the primary use case. So this is something that I think that there's a really strong use case for. And let me bring open the grantee handbook. And this is something that we're just going to go through here real quick. I don't know if it necessarily makes sense to submit here on today, but one of the things that I would really like to do between today and our next working group is I'm going to break out via a Google Docs. And one of the reasons that we still love using Google Docs is that we found that that's the easiest and most widely used and collaborative for collaborative. So I'm going to create some ideas around our submission. And I think that let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger here. So recommended grant. So read grants page on website. That's kind of where we're at. Read governance page docs. Fill out a grant application on GitHub. And I think that they've got the grant application on GitHub's repository. So this is very dev-centric. GitHub is a tool that devs love using for collaborating. So take a temperature check from the community on Snapshot. So it looks like they actually use GitHub repository, and this is one of the things that I'm not sure what those conversations look like. I don't know how many grants that they normally process, but there's a couple of use cases surrounding this. One of the we were talking a little bit about earlier is one of the ideas that I have to create a more educational and a more value-added thing. Because like one of the things that I have as an opportunity is to engage people, like say, hey, how would you like to get a free NFT as a Tesla Black experience or something like that? And that's where we can use Unlock Protocol as a component. Besides us using it in our DAO, I think that there's an opportunity to teach drivers how to use Unlock Protocol as aspiring content entrepreneurs. So the things that I've already found and already know about gig workers are that gig workers are entrepreneurial. And I think the more that they go down that, the more entrepreneurial that they become. So this is one that we can enhance gig workers through teaching them about this very tool, where it can be a component within their workflow when they're out doing their gig thing, where they can provide an experience. Like a lot of people have heard about NFTs, but most people, when they've heard about NFT, think of the Bored Ape Yacht Club, where people paid, hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars during the top of the last crypto cycle, and now it's worth a fraction of that cost. That's what a lot of people's thoughts are around NFTs. Now, there's actually some really cool things, like when you think about what we're creating here, a community, a DAO of gig workers, where the purpose of the community is to help gig work to be the most profitable for gig workers. And now we're talking about elevating gig workers to become content entrepreneurs and potentially their passengers into a own community that they're building. So that's one of the things that I think is a really strong use case. The other one is also, I think that would be more of like a grant opportunity. I don't think that we can, from what I understand, if I remember correctly, and I actually participated, like Tyler and I, we anyway, it's a longer story. We've using Unlock Protocol for years. Like we talked about Token Town, the HOA Destroyer, that was done using Unlock Protocol. So we've got really strong rapport with the Unlock Protocol community, and this is one of the things that we're anticipating can grow. But where I was,
Unlock Protocol was also one of the people we interviewed on DAO Day, so that was another fun thing for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the things that was really cool at ETH Denver 2020, wasn't it, Tyler, that we got the NFT with the art, or was it 20?
I don't
Doesn't
remember.
matter.
It was actually a charitable fundraiser for a huge wildfire here in the North Denver area, and wiped out like 1,000 houses. And this local artist donated a painting, and they made the painting into the NFT, and we ended up with the original through giving to this charity raffle. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's also what my background is here on Zoom, is the that NFT that was done. But anyway, yeah. So going back here is, I think that we've got more than a couple grant opportunities, and one of which is like we think of what we're doing here, where we're talking about creating this workflow with Kickstarter. And one of the things that I would really like to see, because I don't really want this to be a manual process of creating and minting these NFTs. So this would be a very unique use case for actually like creating some type of grant to figure out how to automate the minting of these Unlock Protocol, these DAO member NFTs with our Kickstarter campaign. So I think that should be the use case that we should submit for, because that would be exciting. I mean, Kickstarter is a well-known, very successful rewards platform for launching creative projects. I would be surprised if anybody's actually attempted to launch a DAO using Unlock Protocol with Kickstarter. I'm just guessing out loud here, but that's kind of so I'm thinking that we should go, that one should be our first one. And then, like, thinking from a longer term standpoint, I would like to do another Unlock Protocol grant where we're really teaching these gig workers how to use their own and create their own Unlock Protocol smart contract to create as a part of the Tesla Black experience. The Tesla Black experience is something that is going to be a very work in progress type of dynamic, but that's really the simplify what my vision is, to create this unique Tesla Black experience. So that's my thoughts. So what does everybody think from an idea standpoint? How you liking the ideas of those two Unlock Protocol grant requests?
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Go ahead, Sean. I see you got your mic open.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's so many moving parts. It's hard to keep track of like everything, but I think it's definitely something worth exploring. I mean, you since you've had prior experience with Unlock, I think we want to leverage that. But you have so many different things going on here, so it's hard to keep track of like what's what.
You're totally right. I think one of the things that we're looking at is overwhelmingly, Jason, and to a lesser extent, I am doing almost every part of everything. So that's one of the things that we're really excited about, is for somebody to say, yeah, I want to work on that one project as a bounty. I want to work on the Unlock Protocol grant, and I don't want to design the Kickstarter. I don't want to do the website or whatever. I just want to do this one thing. That's what we're looking for. One of the things that we are really trying to build a culture around is building bounties around projects. So when people, or even tasks, so when people get really interested in one thing, they can just do it and not feel like they have to have their hands in everything. That's what we're trying to build.
Right, but like having an unlock to do a Kickstarter, to do a one of 3 DAOs to do an NFT to do. I mean, it's
Yeah, no, it is a lot, but I think mostly we're not going to be aiming the same audience at the same thing. Like we're not trying to get people that are interested in Teslas, also interested in solar roofs, and also interested in everything. We're trying to present the whole project to the core team and say this is everywhere we're going. But just think of it the same way. If you're looking for hand soap on Amazon, you're probably not also looking for a lawnmower and web services, but it's the whole thing is there. That's what we're trying to do.
yeah. I mean, like I said, it's from an outside point of view, I'd say it's confusing and hard to keep track of everything. So probably one of the things to do is to like better explain, the path of like why you need all these different tools.
And the tool in unlock protocol, that's going to be like a core organizational aspect. That's going to be what represents from a technology aspect their membership into Tesla Black DAO. So when I'm talking about like a driver using that protocol to create their own community, that's a different use case. But like this one is a fundamental aspect from like an organization and governance. It's going to be the NFT, this DAO member NFT that we're going to be creating for Tesla Black. That's going to be like basically a product that we're going to be selling. What that will allow us to do is to create proposals and workflow and a voting mechanism using Snapshot. And that haven't talked about Snapshot, but that's one of the other tools that is from a governance standpoint a pretty foundational aspect. And we absolutely understood there's a lot of opportunity to create, and that's one of the things. I don't know if we've got that. Let me go over here to Tesla Black DAO, our main page, because this is something that we talked about last week. Was let's see where it's at. So we're planning to create like an onboarding type of dynamic, and that's one of the things that we want to create too, is more of a some processes where people can learn little snippets as far as and where most of that will come into play is this onboarding into the DAO. This is one of the things that we're really going to be structuring as a required, and we'll probably set that up where do a replay. But we're really wanting to create, and that's going back to the cooperative principles. That's one of the cooperative principles that exists too, is really providing the educational aspects. So like we absolutely understand, especially like the work groups are, these are things that we've been talking about to move the projects forward. So that's one of the things that we absolutely understand will be a challenge, is onboarding people and getting them acclimated to new types of technology. And we really believed that by doing that, and by really is like why Web3 matters and creating the ownership opportunity, that it will be a compelling enough of a reasons for people to learn this new technology. So I'll carry this down for bringing up, and I'm going to actually add a next action too of let's see, create a Google Doc for ideas for unlock protocol plus Kickstarter campaign. And part of the reason too that we want to do the unlock protocol grant is that it creates social signals. There's a pretty strong existing ecosystem around. The more that we can create wins through easy, what we think some low-hanging fruit, That's kind of the thoughts too on submitting the grant, is that it shouldn't take that much effort and really creating a story, because it's something that we really need to do anyway. Is we are absolutely going to be using Unlock Protocol to do our DAO member, now automating the process so that when somebody, goes through that process on Kickstarter, where it's not a manual process for them to get their NFT and then like go through. And that's one of the things that using, like, talking about a user journey. And that's one of the things, I've got a reference book over here. I don't know if you have any experience, Sean, with mermaid.js, but documenting a lot of the stuff and having the documentation be in can be easily digested and or upgraded. That's one of the things that we're wanting to use it like Mermaid. One of the reasons also is that it here in Notion, we can use Mermaid. Where's it at here? So we can use Mermaid to put in the syntax for like a user journey. So this isn't Mermaid syntax, but it's a fairly simple markdown. Have you ever heard of Mermaid, Sean?
No, I have not heard of Mermaid.
So let me get it right here. So this is the reference book that I was talking about. The official guide to mermaid.js, and I actually have this right here on defining a user diagram. It won't show up very good here, but that's the other thoughts too, besides like creating some user journey, because like there's gonna be a couple user journeys that we're talking about here. Like one of the things that I didn't get on is, and let's actually talk about right now is, and I'm gonna put this down here, is one of the thoughts for creating a funnel into what we're building is a Facebook quiz. This is something that we've talked about using with other projects, and I think this is a strong use case. So thinking about Gigs Go Green quiz for rideshare drivers, and I don't know what that would look like as far as from a title standpoint, but think, because like there's a couple ways that we could. One, we could ask some thoughtful questions that we could bundle up and include, like from a standpoint, like how many hours a week do you get? I don't know what the good syntax is on that. And then like some choices might be like 5 to 15, 20 to 35, and then 40 plus, and into some brackets like that. Do you currently have an electric vehicle? Or do you currently own an electric vehicle? Have you thought of buying an EV? What's some other good questions to ask that would be worthwhile surrounding this chain of thought for a gig workers quiz for rideshare drivers?
Well, I mean, you want them to buy into being green, right? So you got to have a question about how important is it for you to help save the environment.
Well, so here's my thoughts on that, Sean, is regardless of their thoughts of going green, remember, we're positioning through the lens of a gig worker, and we're positioning our community as the most profitable for gig workers. I strongly hold the belief, regardless of what your thoughts are going green, it's the most profitable situation for doing gig work. And when you think about like gig workers that want to drive the least and make the most amount of money possible, driving an electric vehicle makes that happen. Maybe that's a question.
Well, no, but I mean, if you're having that hashtag gigs go green and you want to like get people to buy into the hashtag and the motto, right? Then you want to have a question that feeds into that.
Well, it's kind of two different things, Sean. The first thing is, some of this is for the passengers. Some of it's for the drivers. I think at the end of the day, drivers care about making more money more than any other goal. If they can help the environment along the way, cool, whatever. But the biggest thing too is just saying a lot of green projects sort of out in the world are not profitable. So it's you're sacrificing one for the other. We're saying this is actually the most profitable and it's green. So we're trying to position that to pastors are saying, help your driver, help the environment. This is the solution. It doesn't require any government funding and solving the problem.
Right. And then, have a question that kind of leads to that answer, kind of like, leading the witness.
Well, the thoughts on with the quiz is we're not going to really onboard anybody into the DAO during a quiz. The thoughts is to provide a webinar, and I don't know what that webinar would be called, but one of the goals that we would have is to convert the quiz recipient to webinar participants, where we could do a 25 minute webinar to really talk about the value proposition of joining Tesla Black DAO. And of course, some of that would be the NIF surrounding driving an electric vehicle and whatever we find that narrative to be. So yeah, I think that a lot of people would say that they would love to save the environment or whatever. It's just that I don't think that we're given that. I think for most people that's too far really out of reach. And this would be a really strong way that they could do that, then also get the benefit of increasing their monthly budget by making more money, whether that's by actually increasing their income, but also by reducing their expenses, which tends to happen when people, especially from a gas car into a Tesla. So that's one of the things. And one of the other things too.
Hi, Jason.
Go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, I think I resonate with what Sean was saying, mainly because we can make this a win-win package, wherein earning money does not negate the fact that you're doing good for the environment. So if we could formulate a thought process that they can win on both sides, why not?
Well, they absolutely will. And right now we're looking at asking some questions to create a quiz for. So and I'm open for if we wanted to ask the question and maybe ask this question, how important is climate change? Or how important is combating climate change?
I think you need to just say sustainability, because people can make their contribution in little ways. It doesn't have to be big ways.
How important is any sustainability?
Well, I mean, you don't have to be that. Like, for example, you could have a question that says, if you could make more money while protecting the environment, would you be interested?
Yeah, something like that. Make it a win-win.
This would be yes, no, and I don't know enough about what the capabilities are. Let me see if we even have anything in here for quiz. I think we do. So there was two platforms that Playbuzz and Outgrow were two tools, and I don't think that we'd ever gotten far enough along. But that was Outbuzz, Quiz.
If you're actually providing an innovative way to disrupt the status quo in order to provide sustainability goals, that is something that a group I don't know which one, can actually turn our data into carbon credits.
What do you mean by turn data into?
Like if you're able to gather enough data, as we do this, that says by being a member, or by doing this thing that we are providing to the community, that we have increased or decreased use of fossil fuels, or our solar EV chargers with our Tesla Black cars are making a difference. It's it may not have data right now, but as you move forward doing this project and you collect those data, there are groups out there that can certify what we're doing has a benefit to the environment.
So, yeah, you're as far as the renewable energy certificate and stuff like that. Absolutely, and that's something that we'll be looking at. Right now, the thought is just putting some initial, like, getting some questions that we could, because from a time frame standpoint, I think that we're pretty close. Like, I would really like to see us get a campaign online, like the second week of December, just to continue to echo. I've got a personal goal where I'm wanting to onboard 100 people into this DAO. And with the affiliate opportunity that we're creating with that, and that's one of the things that we'll be talking about during our next working group, tokenomics for the DAO member. And that's one of the things, the tokenomics for the entire ecosystem, that's a much more complicated thing, because what we're doing is not simple. And having through organizations that we're wanting to be move towards an increasing centralization and having a solid governance framework, and using token technology to do that when most people haven't even heard of token is it's an undertaking. But that's the great thing about this, is that we're playing the long game here, and this is something that can be an ongoing work in progress. And we want to get great getting feedback too, because, like, whether that's somebody that's participating in a working group or somebody that comes to a webinar, and, like, this is one of the things I don't know, because there's a lot of opportunity to take some of this, because we're with this Facebook quiz, basically wanting to create a way to pay for advertising. And Buzz is one of those that Chris Smith in Conversion Code made reference to. Another one was Outbuzz up here a second ago, and it might have slipped behind. I wonder if I minimized it. Outgrow quiz. So I'll open up this again. So this was another platform for doing Facebook quizzes, Outgrow and Playbuzz. So and look, like, this even has an AI quiz maker, but this is one of the things potentially package in some usable manner to provide some worthwhile aspects. Because one of the other things too is that there's data from a human perspective, like data from somebody filling out a poll, an online quiz. One of the things that we collect data around is we're wanting to quantifiably demonstrate that gig workers in our model make more money. And that's one of the things. Well, how can we do that? We won't have access to what gig workers are earning unless they're providing that. And that's one of the things that I think that there's this opportunity to use some circular economy, some tokenomics here, where we could reward some tokens for people to upload their ride data. And then if they're okay with their income being, like, maybe pseudo-anonymous or anonymous, as far as that, things that we can have as we begin to ramp up members into that we can have more conversations. But that's just some ideas that I've had. Like, we've talked a little bit about like AI, and I'm looking at the time here. We've only got 10 minutes left, and things that we like to do during this last slice of time is ensure that the decisions and next actions have been heard. I think that we did pretty good job moving carryover stuff from today into the next actions. One of the things that we didn't get on here was discussing real estate trust attorneys. And this is something that I've got another book sitting on my desk here that is Community Matters. And this is talking about community land trust practitioners. That's one of the three. That's actually the third of this circular economy with cooperatives that we're looking to create, is the real estate engine, so that we can bring these parking lot and solar EV through a parking lot and a single family house model. So that's one of the things. Other things too. We are having a conversation with another attorney, Yev Muchnik, who is a DAO, Web3, and cooperative attorney who is licensed practice here in Colorado. Let me bring open this real quick. We've talked about Unlock Protocol. Let me actually bring open the dashboard for Unlock Protocol, where we are using our board of steward. So Unlock Protocol, and I'm gonna have to sign into that real quick. I'm gonna grab that real quick. So this is the dashboard. I've got the MetaMask real quick. So but anyway, getting back to the conversation, we've got a short conversation with Yev on Monday, and the way that we're really looking to do the governance for bringing this 3 co-op security token offering to market. And I'm going to actually change gears a little bit, because this is probably even more important than showing the Unlock Protocol, was the B Labs. Let's see. So this is something that we've had some conversations in, was going through and doing our B impact assessment. And from a timing standpoint, this is something that I don't know how much, and this is something that we may need to have a breakout. I'm really hoping that we can go through this B impact assessment for all 3 organizations, because it's something I would like to see all 3 Colorado. And we're looking at doing a public benefit corporation as the public benefit corporation is that public benefit corporations are a globally recognized standards for a governance framework for public benefit corporations. And we do have some additional legal requirements with the public benefit corporation. And so that's one of the things that we've started going through that. And do you think that it would make the most sense to do that in a conversation, or should we do that packaged within our working group? And right now I'm thinking like kicking these conversations to January and just focusing on getting the MVP for Tesla Black DAO online here in December, and then working towards our Kickstarter. I'm going to go on mute and let you all hear some thoughts on whether we do that here in our working group or in a breakout conversation for the B-Lab impact assessment.
Well, I mean, the group seems very small right now, so I don't think you really need to have breakout groups yet.
That's absolutely very fair. And kind of the thoughts is if somebody's interested in that, then we can have a breakout conversation and not take the time for the working group. That's the only thought, not from a because it will probably take and sure what from a time standpoint, but it's we've allocated like 5 to 15 in some previous slices, but it really didn't, like, it wasn't as immersive of an experience. And maybe we just dedicate our working groups to go through and just focus entirely on that in January. That's another thought.
Yeah, certainly that's valid.
So let's probably go that route, and we'll see. I don't know. I'll take a look at the timeline as far as, because it's only $150 to flip the needle as far as the assessment. I'm not sure what the timeline is, because I don't know if, I don't think it actually, because the thoughts are here is the January 22nd with our Kickstarter. I think it would probably make sense to just prioritize doing for the one organization, Tesla Black DAO, and then and I'll take this offline and see what the timeline is as far as pay the $150.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Sean.
I think there's another good point here in that since you have all of these different DAOs and orgs, games in play, it would be good to like get one going and have lessons learned from that one leveraged on the others.
Yeah, and you're absolutely correct. We are getting some additional synergies though by doing, because we need to have some of the governance, like it doesn't have to be completely in place. Like when we do dirty token offering, but we absolutely need to have the legal entity in place. That was a little bit where was talking about creating this board of stewards for Web3 Freedom Club, and that brings it back to the question with Muchnick and some of the other, because this board of stewards, what we're planning is to have a quarterly meeting, and we're looking to do our first quarterly meeting after we get the Kickstarter campaign launched, before we do the token offering. It'll basically be a go, no go decision, where we're looking to summarize where we're at and looking to ask and have the question answered by our board of stewards. Are we ready to do our security token offering on 2/22? And then we're looking to have that be a quarterly dynamic to fulfill the governance, while we're looking to create increasing decentral within these organizations that we're launching via the security offering. Prior to that, like, we're obviously going to be much more heavily leaning into Tesla Black DAO. But that's one of the things that will be entering, is that the governance will probably be a little different, like with Tesla DAO, for example, than Solar EV. That will also probably, I could definitely see the governance for Tesla Black DAO being quite a bit different than what the governance is for Solar EV, and that will probably be more similar in a model to what we look to creating for Web3 Community Land Trust. Just thinking about the municipalities and the barriers that come into play with energy resources and real estate, and just the regulations that exist. This, as with like a mobility situation like Tesla Black and cars, you don't really have the local municipalities with as much consideration, because those boundaries aren't really as relevant, or the cars and the insurance, like within the Tesla Black vertical. But we're here at the 2 hours. Brooke must have ran Tyler out because I see he hopped off. But this is a great start. One thing that I'm going to go through here real quick is I talked a little about this at the start. Is I'm going to go ahead and create a let's meet for our upcoming working group. So this is something. Let Us Meet is a tool. It's a heat map tool where people can say, when are we available to do a working group? So this is something I'm going to put it here for and this is to pick the time for our next working group. And this, I'm going to put it, I don't know that this will look with this many days, but this will be for our next working group. And let's meet. I'm going to actually just get this, because I've got some copy and paste stuff from our previous ones. So it's since we've had a working group. Let's meet. And this is we're finishing up right here, work number 7. So this will be 8. And I can't remember, Sean, but we did do, and this is one of the things that will be interesting, is we submitted a HeroX team for Solar EV for the Solar Prize Round 7 and for Community Power Accelerator Round 2. So we should feedback from those prior to the end of the year, and that's something that we can use to further refine our narrative. Now, with the narrative surrounding Gigs Go Green with Tri-Co-op STO, it's a very different narrative and a much more advanced narrative than what we were submitting with Solar EV. All right, so I'll share this with everybody here offline and get that going. But we'll see what the people, because one of our core team contributors, the reason that we're doing this was, like I said, Nick was struggling to find the time on Sunday with family commitments. So here's this link, and I'll share that with everybody on our LinkedIn group chat as well. But any final thoughts before we call it for a wrap here today, either Sean or Amy?
Nope.
Have a
All good.
great rest of your Sunday.
All right, thanks everybody. And I'm wearing the Broncos. The Broncos are playing the Vikings, so go Broncos. And I'll end it with that thought. And have a great week. And if we won't be talking, we won't have any meetings here this next week unless you're interested in being in the attorney conversation. And if you are, send me a DM. And otherwise, we'll be back here. Have a fun and safe Thanksgiving holiday coming up here, everybody.
Thank you for coming, Sean.
All right. Thanks. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Yep.